to another edition of Leopard Chat. I'm Laura Leopard, and our special guest today is Rena Barnett. She is the Senior Director in the New York office of Engle, Lindsley and Regan. And Rena was a transactional and a regulatory environmental attorney before becoming a recruiter. She's also an adjunct professor and teaches business law, and she's a graduate of NYU Law School. Welcome, Rena.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're glad to have you, and we have a very important topic to talk about today. We are talking about law students and what you need to better position yourself for a job once you graduate. And I know that's a tall order to talk about, but she has some really wonderful points that I think you should listen to about steps you need to take now that can really impact your future.
Well, I'm really excited about the opportunity to talk about this. It's very funny because I went out with a bunch of other recruiters one evening, and one of the things I said to them is, I wish that when I was in law school, someone such as a recruiter who'd been out for a long time and had seen the market had given me these tips and given me some options before I graduated. And right now, law students in particular are really feeling the economy, and there's a lot of trepidation about what's going to happen when you graduate from law school.
Right.
And I'm getting emails from law students asking for assistance. One of the things I have to say is you've got to be proactive. Don't allow the economy to affect you, because you can actually take steps now which will help you later in the market, and also further down in your career once you become an associate in a law firm or in-house, how to take steps to go further in your career and actually, excuse me for the saying, taking the reins of your career. So to start, I would say one of the things that would-be associates need to consider is, why did you become a lawyer in the first place? Why did you go to law school? Sometimes, a lot of the times you have people who go to law school because they have very strong verbal or written skills. They're not quite sure what they want to do when they grow up, so to speak. And they say, well, I can get into a good law school, I'm going to try that. Or the economy's really bad, I better go to school, maybe I can wait out this economy and
right.
Wait a couple of years and maybe things will get better. That's just sort of a first step. What you need to be doing while you're in law school, or hopefully even before you go to law school, is developing skill sets that differentiate you from the rest of the market. For example, right now, IP is a practice area that's very much in demand. And while there may not be lots of openings across the board, I'm seeing a ton of openings for IP attorneys. But a general Bachelor's of Arts degree is not going to cut it. You need to have a more advanced degree.
Right.
So going to college, taking extra college credits while you're in law school may even be an option. But getting a science background, getting an MS at least, probably something like engineering. I'm seeing right now, for example, a lot of demand for people with computer backgrounds, software, electrical engineering. That puts you in a different echelon and a different niche of the market from the general JD that's graduating and saying, okay, now what do I do? Another thing to consider is that most would-be associates see the law practice as corporate or litigation.
Right.
Do I want to be a litigator the way I see it on TV, or do I want to be, Mad Men, big corporate attorney?
Right.
But there's a lot of other practices out there that are actually, first of all, one that comes to mind immediately is bankruptcy, which is in high demand, of course. But there's also practices that are more recession-proof. They don't have the highs, they don't have the lows.
Right.
Example, FERC work, FCC telecommunications work. These are regulatory practices that are driven by the government.
Right.
And as long as, compliance work's another one. As long as there's government regulation, there's a need for these attorneys. So that's steady work that even in the worst of economies, there are openings for. I'm seeing a lot of FDA work as well. So that's another thing to consider. If you're not wedded to a particular practice area, start looking at the bigger picture of the legal market. It's hard to, get your mind around what other types of practices are there out there? And what type of work do those attorneys do? Now that brings us to the next thing, of course.
Which is?
How do you find out what these attorneys do? All right, first and foremost, you can reach out to attorneys in those markets.
Right.
Quickly, there are a variety of online resources that you can search through that give you a little bit of an overview of various markets. One of my favorite websites, other than, of course, Leopard, is Chambers and Partners. Chambers and Partners, great resource for the rest of your career, because not only do they rank law firms in specific practice areas, they also rank lawyers who do that work. So you can read the bios of those attorneys, find out a little bit more about them, and even email them and say, hi, I'm interested in your practice. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you do?
That's right. And of course, if you are a member of the Leopard Law School Project, you can use your Leopard list to go in and locate those attorneys quickly and easily as well.
And another thing to consider is law clerkships, legal clinics, internships, and I cannot stress enough your 2L and 3L years in terms of getting the experience while you're still in law school. Even if you have to take an unpaid internship, it's going to pay. If you can afford to do it, do it. Because even if that current employer is unable to employ you, you are getting valuable experience, which is going to make you more marketable to the next potential employer.
Right. Well, can we talk briefly about what the big practice areas are now? What are the hot practice areas to look at?
Definitely IP, definitely bankruptcy. And as I said, the steady ones are, the regulatory practices are still kicking away. Another big one right now is energy. I'm seeing a tremendous push for climate change and alternative energy work.
Exactly.
One of the things also I might point out here, and I give this advice to associates, but the same advice can apply to law students. Look at job postings. Feel free to reach out to a recruiter and ask them for job postings. Job postings are not just a need it now, but also a resource. You can look at who's hiring right now, in what markets, and what are the skill sets that they are looking for. That gives you sort of a roadmap of the skill sets you need to get in order to be marketable in that geographical and legal sphere.
Absolutely. It's a great barometer of what they're going to ask to see from you once you get your law degree and begin working as an associate. And you can also check out our Leopard job board to see what openings are there and what requirements are there as well.
I also wanted to just mention that many search firms, including my own, do offer to go to law schools, and we've done this in the past.
Oh, that's great.
And give an overview of the top 100 or the top 200 law firms. So if you don't have that resource available in your law school, you can certainly reach out to us, and we'd be happy to provide that information, which may also be an augment to your research and your development prior to graduating law school.
So there you go. If you have any questions, just ask Rena. Or contact her recruiting firm, and maybe they can work with your law school. Well, thank you so much, Rena. I really appreciate it. I think we had a good talk today and covered a very important topic. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. And if you're not a member of our law school project, you should have someone contact Leopard Solutions. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Take care.